Do you see the microphone or you don't see it? Because I rather like to see it. Hi, this is JP from Classic Driver, and today we talk about a modified F40 that just became the most expensive car at RM Sotheby's new Woodcote Park sale. We break down why and what F40s listed on the Classic Driver market say about where the F40 market goes next. Conventional wisdom in this market is simple. You don't modify a blue chip Ferrari. Touch the engine, change the bodywork, and you've turned a collectible into, let's say, a used car with a story. And yet, on the 8th of July this year, at RM Sotheby's brand new sale at Woodcote Park, a modified F40, a car with real miles, a rebuilt engine, and non-original clamshells, plus sliding windows, became the most expensive lot of the entire auction. £3,605,000, nearly $5 million, comfortably over its high estimate. So today we're going to do three things. Understand why this F40 broke the modification rule, put that result in context of where the F40 market sits in mid-26, and then cross-reference it against what's actually for sale right now using the Classic Driver market as our benchmark. First, the car itself, because none of this would make sense if we don't learn more about the specific F40. Chassis number 84642, a 1990 F40, delivered new through Charles Pozzi in Paris to Jean Sage, the former racing driver and longtime Renault F1 team manager and one of the great insiders of the French motorsport. Crucially, it left Maranello as a desirable non-cat, non-adjust car. Means non-catalytic converters strangling the engine, no heavy and famously troublesome self-levering suspension. The purest factory specification, the one collectors already pay premium for. Then in 1994, Sage sent it to Michelotto in Padua, and this is the word doing most of the heavy lifting in the result, Michelotto. Because Michelotto isn't a tuner, this is the workshop Ferrari itself sanctioned to build the F40 LM competition cars. When Michelotto reworked an F40, it was factory adjacent race engineering, not any aftermarket enthusiasm. The spec sheet reads like an LM Light. The original engine rebuilt with IHI turbochargers and a lightweight exhaust. Output rising to around 527 horsepower and a generally absurd 626 pound-feet of torque. Lightweight clamshells, sliding windows, air conditioning removed, LM-style carbon buckets, roughly 136 kilograms saved in total. Lighter and more powerful than a standard F40. And it proved itself in period. At Paul Ricard in 1995, it qualified fastest in class against McLaren F1 GTRs, and within a handful of seconds of a full F40 LM on road registration. At matching numbers, a Marcel Massini report, fresh Campbells, and F40 owners will win here new fuel tanks fitted last October at a cost of £37,000. And you have what the trade calls a complete provenance stack. Now, the sale itself. Woodcote Park was a first. RM Sotheby's inaugural UK summer auction in partnership with the legendary Royal Automobile Club. Around 44 lots, just under £16 million in total sales, it seems to be the most successful summer sale to date, with roughly 3/4 of lots finding new homes and garages. Two patterns stood out. First, the money concentrated at the top. The F40 and the legendary Porsche 911 Carrera RSR 3.8 Straßenversion, which produced the longest bidding battle of the day, accounted for a very large slice of the total. Second, and this matters for the wider market, younger cars generally outperformed older ones. Modern exotics and 80s to 90s icon carried the sale. Several pre-war and 50 lots sold at or below estimate, or didn't sell at all. That's consistent with what we've been seeing all year. The generational rotation in the collector market is no longer thesis, it's data. It's actually proven. And within the rotation, the Halo Ferraris 288 GTO, F40, F50 and the Enzo have been among the strongest movers of 2026. Remember that in January, an F40 achieved $6.6 million, a public sale record for the model. Against that backdrop, a £3.6 million for the ultimate road-going F40 doesn't look like an outlier. It looks like confirmation. And what a confirmation. Since 1998, Classic Driver is the place online to find iconic classics like an Aston Martin DB5 or modern sports cars like the latest Porsche GT3 RS. At Classic Driver you find offerings from the most important dealers, the most trusted auction houses, but also from private sellers. So if you're thinking of buying a new car for your collection or selling, head over to Classic Driver. So here's where we ground the auction theater in the everyday market. Right now, there are 9 F40s listed on the Classic Driver market. In Switzerland, Germany, Italy, Belgium, the UK and the United States for auction. What do the numbers tell us? The most ambitious visible ask is an American market 1991 car for sale at the RM Sotheby's Monterey auction in August at $4 to $5 million estimate. At the other end of the price spectrum, our 1992 Catalyst car in Switzerland is asking around $3.3 million. And here's the first insight. Even a cat car, historically lesser desirable specification amongst collectors, is now asking above what a top non-cat example were estimated for auction only 3 to 4 years ago. The floor has literally moved. The second insight is what you can't see. The majority of the 9 listings, including several non-cat and non-adjust cars, are price on request. When the best cars go POR, that's not also coyness. However, it is the sellers signaling that the market is moving fast enough that they'd rather negotiate from strength than anchor to a number that might look affordable in 6 months. In a falling market, sellers print prices to attract buyers. In a rising market, they hide them. Food for thought. Third, the spread. Public data puts the average F40 transaction at roughly $3 million. I find it a bit too low, but however, while the record sits at 6.6 million, the gap, more than double between an average car and the best car, could be the defining feature of today's F40 market. Specification, mileage, certification and provenance aren't adding 10 or 15% anymore. They are literally doubling the prices. So 3 takeaways. 1. The modification rule has an asterisk. The Jean Sage car didn't sell despite its modification, it sold because of them. But look at the conditions. Work done in period by the factory-sanctioned specialist for a significant owner, fully documented on a matching numbers car. That's not a loophole any modified F40 can drive through. If your F40 has an aftermarket exhaust and a wrap, this result does nothing for you. If it has a Michelotto invoice from 1994, it does everything. Second, the F40 is re-rating and the market is already pricing it in. Asking prices on Classic Driver sit at or above the strongest auction results a couple of years ago. Dealers and private sellers aren't waiting for the auction data to catch up. They are front-running it. For buyers, that means the wait for a deal strategy is quite getting more expensive every quarter, especially if we look at the US market. Third, quality concentration is the story of 2026. Woodcote Park sold 3/4 of its lots, but the money pooled around a handful of exceptional cars, while ordinary, and don't get me wrong in the word choice, good cars did merely fine. That's not froth. Froth lifts actually everything. This is a discriminating market with deep pockets, which historically is the healthiest kind. The honest caveat on exceptional results is one data point. If you own a standard F40, the John Sage Premium is not your comp. The Swiss Cat car at 3.3 and the average transaction around 2.9 are. But the direction of travel across auctions and the open market alike is unambiguous. The F40 spent 30 years being the poster. It's now spending the 2020s becoming the benchmark, the car against which the entire analog supercar market is and will be measured. If you're watching the market right now or shopping it, all 9 of those F40s are live on the classic driver market right now. You find a link in the description. And if you want a deeper conversation on how the top of this market really assigns value, our Classic Driver Talks episodes, both with Gus Sabatier-Garand from RM Sotheby's and the episode with Simon Kitson, are the natural next watch for you. Please subscribe to our Classic Driver channel here on YouTube, and we jointly will beat the algorithm. And if you don't follow us already on Instagram, just type in Classic Driver and you will find daily, fresh, new, funny things about the things we love the most, cars. Thank you for joining, and don't miss out all other cool stories and films we published here on our YouTube channel.